Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah, I'm Ravi Kahlon, BC's Minister for Housing. I'd like to start by acknowledging that we're gathered today on the traditional territory of the Coast Salish people, the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh. Today, I'm joined by Vancouver's Mayor, Ken Sim, and we're here to provide an update on the Downtown Eastside. I've spoken with a lot of people living and working in the neighborhood. Like all communities, the Downtown Eastside finds support and friendships amongst their neighbors. They help each other through tough times and encourage each other to pursue their dreams. But those tough times in the Downtown Eastside have been tougher over the past year. In July 2022, in response to the encampment on Hastings Street and the fire dangers therein, Vancouver Fire and Rescue Services issued an order to remove tents and structures along East Hastings Street. Since then, the province has been working with partners like the City of Vancouver, Indigenous governments, community organizations over several months to support people to move out of the Hastings encampment and create comprehensive Downtown Eastside response plan. This plan aims to help people get off the street into homes and make the Downtown Eastside a healthier and safer and a more hopeful place for everyone. I want to today provide an update of where we're at. Through this plan, we've already provided new homes to 90 people who have accepted housing offers and moved into homes. Since July 2022, the number of structures along East Hastings has gone from 180 to 74. There are currently 117 people sheltering outside on East Hastings. 70 of them have expressed desire for housing. The majority of those sheltering outside have already been and continue to be offered spaces indoors. And today, I'm able to confirm that we will be opening an additional 330 homes for people in the Downtown Eastside by the end of June. This includes 2 new temporary supportive housing projects with 89 homes and a mix of renovated SRO units and supportive homes at other locations. Those homes will be opening on a rolling basis through April, May, and June. As we open these new homes, indoor shelter spaces are available. Outreach workers are actively connecting with people sleeping outdoors to make sure that they know that these shelters and services are available to them as we build long-term housing and as it opens. Over the past month, we've seen a number of dangerous fires and acts of violence on Hastings Street. As safety concerns increase, we're urging people to take up offers to move indoor spaces as they're available right now, and we continue to open up more long-term spaces. Our plan has been built together with community. It recognizes the unique history and culture of the Downtown Eastside and the value of existing grassroots supports and networks. It acknowledges that people are better able to access supports when they are safe in their stable shelter and their basic needs are met. This new strategy includes establishing a new multidisciplinary team to help people transition into indoor spaces and access health and supports, more community integration specialists to work on the streets directly with people who are homeless and getting them the supports they need, providing new seamless substance use treatment options at St. Paul's Hospital by the fall through the new Road to Recovery model, new resources to help organizations improve and expand services like drop-in centers and outreach services, and establishing a new community connection hub in Downtown Eastside so people have a one-stop shop to help get them connected to housing and other services, and much more than that. The past few years have taught us that we need to work together to solve big challenges. This plan has been a team effort. The level of coordination and cooperation, including Indigenous and community partners, is something I don't think we've seen before. I'd like to thank everyone who's helped work on it. Musqueam, Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh Nation governments, the City of Vancouver, Parks Board, BC Housing, the federal government, Indigenous and community partners, the Vancouver Police Department, and the Vancouver Fire and Rescue Services. I'd also like to thank the residents of Downtown Eastside who have, through their input and their patience, provided support in this process. I know that packing up belongings and moving is a stressful and exhausting experience, especially when you're doing it over and over again. That's why we want to help people experience homelessness, get permanent housing where they can reconnect with their community and build a better life. Everyone in the Downtown Eastside deserves a safe, stable, and supportive place to call home. We're committed to continuing to work with our partners to make that happen. I'd now like to welcome up Mayor Sim to the podium to share more detail about the city's efforts. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Happy Sunday. I do want to start off as well by acknowledging that we're holding today's press conference on the unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh First Nations. And I do thank them for their generosity and their hospitality and the love and the care they show the land that we get to live, work, and play on. And I would highly encourage everyone to unlearn what we've learned in the past and take some time out to learn what actually happened on these lands. It goes a long way towards reconciliation. Now, today's update from the province marks an important next step towards making meaningful progress in the Downtown Eastside. And when our team was first elected, I did make a call out to senior levels of government for greater support in addressing the humanitarian crisis that is going on in the Downtown Eastside. And we made it clear that the only way that we can make meaningful progress is on longstanding issues such as poverty and mental health and addictions and homelessness was by working together and coordinating our responses. And almost immediately after that call went out, Premier Eby, stepped up and answered that call. And now I'm proud of, today I'm proud of what our governments have been able to achieve thus far. More resources for public safety, sanitation, and mental health crisis response, along with hundreds of new housing spaces set to come online later this year. But as we look to the future on the Downtown Eastside, it's important that we don't lose sight of the reality that lies before us. Every day, we continue to hear heartbreaking stories, both along Hastings Street and throughout the Downtown Eastside. Every single day, we do hear heartbreaking stories related to vandalism and theft and overdose deaths and tent fires and increasing acts of violence and sexual abuse, and especially against women and especially against Indigenous women. Now, these challenges, to state the obvious, are real and significant, and they are bigger than just Vancouver. They impact our entire region. And I want to be very clear. Despite all the great things that are going on, these challenges will not be solved overnight. They will still take time. And as I've said many times before, these issues can't be solved by one level of government acting alone. And so I do want to, give a special shout out to the province, especially Premier Eby and Minister Kahlon and the entire provincial government. I know that working together and under their leadership and their coordination, we will continue to make meaningful progress, and we will see a better and safer and more prosperous Downtown Eastside in the future. So, thank you.
Please press star 1 to enter the queue. That's star 1 to ask a question. For media in the room, please line up at the microphone provided, and please make sure to provide us with your full name and outlet. I'm going to check the room first to see if there's anyone on site that has a question. Go ahead.
Just wondering where exactly the temporary supportive housing units and the renovated SRO units are going to be.
Thank you for the question. We have the two modular sites that we've already approved, which are already available. We can provide a more detailed list of where specific the addresses are, but to say that we've been able to renovate a lot of SRO spaces to create new spaces. We do have the two modular sites coming online. We have two new additional supportive housing sites that will be opening up in the coming weeks, but we'll provide all the details to you just after this, Andrea.
Andrea, did you have a follow-up?
How does the encampment at Crab Park factor into this? Like, are we prioritizing people along Hastings or the encampment as well?
Well, the Crab Park encampment is now 20 people. We have been able to house people at the Crab Park encampment as well, and we, of course, we've seen some incidences of fire at that site, but not to the extent of the issues that we see on the Hastings Street encampment. But we continue to offer supports and services to people at Crab Park as well. Offers to them to move into housing are being made now. And again, spaces are available for them if they would like to take them, and we continue to encourage them to take them.
Do we have any more questions in the room? Please go ahead.
Hi, Joanne Leung from Post Media. I'm just wanted to get clarification. So the housing units that will be made available, they are in existence now? They're
Correct. So right now we have shelter spaces available for people. We have capacity at our shelter sites for those that are right now in encampments. We are actively encouraging people to take those spaces. We can say with confidence that it is much safer for people to be in those shelters than it is to be in those encampments. We've seen way too many incidents of violence. The mayor has laid out what the police have reported, what not-for-profits have been reporting to us. That's why we've been working before the strategy as it was even launched to get people into housing. So 90 people moved in. That's success. We have 70 people on Hastings Street, 20 people at Crab Park. We have spaces available in shelters. We're encouraging them to take it. Staff are on the ground right now, encouraging people to take those opportunities.
Did you have a follow-up?
You mentioned working with community groups. Could I get a sense of who those are? And
yeah, so the process that we laid out was first, the Premier led a roundtable with most of the not-for-profits that are providing supports on the Downtown Eastside. Then we held a large roundtable with businesses around Chinatown. Then we also had a very large roundtable with all elected official leaders. Mayor Sim was one of the key presenters there. We had the federal government present what they could provide in supports, local Indigenous leaders. From that, it was decided that a smaller group would go away and do some work and then bring it to the larger group. That's what we did. We worked with our MST partners. We worked with some of our Indigenous and not-for-profit providers, took that information to the broader community to say, here's a framework of how we're going to move forward in the short term, middle term, and long term. And we got support from many of those providers, and that's what's presented today.
Did we have any other questions in the room? Okay, in that case, we're going to head over to the phones. Our first question on the line today is Alec Lazenby, BC Today. Please go ahead.
Hello, Minister. You've talked a lot about providing housing units for people living in encampments on the Downtown Eastside. One issue that has been raised over and over again since the summer announcement that these encampments need to be cleared was the fact that people are having, their stuff disposed of, are being displaced without an adequate offer of housing, despite, the cities and the province's assurances that, they are being provided with that opportunity. I was just wondering, what is your comment on that, and what is the province and, also the city doing to make sure that people living in these encampments aren't being put in a more vulnerable spot through the process of moving them out of these spaces?
Yeah, it is very challenging. It's very exhausting for people to have to move from location to location, and we get that. There's been a lot of efforts being put in place to ensure that when people are moved out of an encampment and moved into a shelter, that their space is held for their equipment and or their personal belongings are held for them in a safe way for them to access at a later point. I know the City of Vancouver has been doing a lot of work on that. Perhaps the mayor might want to comment on some of that.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Thank you. Yeah, the only thing I'll add to the minister's comments is we take this, we're doing everything in a very empathetic way. So you'll see our engineers, our engineering staff give residents of the Downtown Eastside a lot of notice. We make sure that wherever possible, we can push them lead them in the right direction, provide spaces for their belongings, and do it in a very empathetic way. But I do want to stress that we've been working on this for a while, and what we're seeing now is while we still have work to do with people that legitimately need housing and supports, we're also seeing increased level of aggression, and there are individuals that actually don't want housing as well. And so it as we get through this process, it does get a little more challenging, but we're still working on it. Great.
Alex, did you have a follow-up?
And in terms of a follow-up, I just wanted to ask Mayor Sim, you mentioned those people who might not want housing. You hear from certain individuals that shelters or supportive housing spaces are not always safe places, especially for women and children and people from vulnerable groups. I was just wondering, what supports are you providing to those people who might not feel comfortable in housing, don't want to take up the offer of housing? What sort of supports are you giving to those people who don't move indoors but might move somewhere else? How are you making that transition easier for them?
Before the mayor jumps in, I'll just add that I can assure people, certainly those that are in Crab Park and definitely those that are on Hastings Street, that the shelter spaces are much safer than what's happening at Hastings Street right now. We know that we've seen an increase in fires. We've seen an increase in crime-related issues. The mayor highlighted hearing more cases of women being sexually assaulted on Hastings Street. That is not a safe place. And from the beginning, the message we've been sharing with those in the encampments is that this is not safe, that we are going to work to provide shelter spaces for them, to provide the units of housing available for them. And so that's what today's announcement is about. We've been able to provide shelter spaces for 90 of the people already there. We have 330 units of supportive housing coming online, over the next 3 months. We're going to continue to do that work, and the mayor probably has some additional comments.
Yeah, so I do want to highlight the province has been incredible in helping us through this process. The process is pretty fluid. And when it comes to safety, I would echo the minister's comments. Being on the street right now is not a safe environment, especially for women and in particular Indigenous women. There was a recent survey done amongst 50 women in the Downtown Eastside, and all 50 had been sexually assaulted, and all 50 do not feel safe. And so, this process is fluid. We're working as hard as we can. The province has shown a lot of leadership here, and we'll continue to, help people out, our most vulnerable population, to get them, the supports that they need.
Our next question is for Vaughn Palmer, Vancouver Sun. Please go ahead.
Good day, Minister. When did you get your copy of the forensic audit of BC Housing, and when will you be sharing the contents with the BC public?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Vaughn. Government received the report a couple of weeks ago. I only received my copy on Monday. I was away the week prior with my family. I received the report Monday. I read the report. The information bullet went out on Friday, and I could say that after reading the report, it is my belief that it's in the public interest for that to be released with as little redaction as possible. We've been told by legal counsel that in order to do so, that we must follow the process in the Freedom of Information Act, which lays out a process for entities that are named to have the ability to be able to read the report and provide comment before it's released. And so really at this stage, it depends on how that process goes, Vaughn, but my hope is to have this report released as early as possible to the public.
Vaughn, did you have a follow-up?
Yes, please. Who will make the final call on what the public sees, and will they be political appointees who answer to you or to the Premier?
Vaughn, the process we have, and again, my goal is to release the report with as little redaction as possible. We'll go through the process which I've laid out, which is under the Freedom of Information Act, which is taking the report to the entities that may be named in the report, giving them an opportunity to provide comment. If we hear back that there's no concerns, then we'll release the report without any redactions. But because I believe it's in the interest of the public to have it in that way. But of course, I know there's a legal process and we want to follow that closely.
Our next question is for James Parisi, City News. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you. So last week we spoke to one of the people living at an encampment in Kitsilano who said he'd rather be outside than live in an SRO. So what will these SRO renovations look like, and will current SRO residents be displaced while these renovations are happening?
Well, certainly when their units are opened up, we'll be making it available for media if they would like to go and see these new renovated spaces. I would say that we also had many residents that were displaced by fires. And so some of them have an opportunity to move into these new spaces. And so as they move into these new spaces and other spaces become available, we'll be moving people throughout. As you can hear from my answer, there has been a lot of fires that we've been dealing with, and with that has had huge impacts on people. And so we're going to be doing that work in the coming weeks. As these units open up, of course, we'll make them available for folks to see. We know that there are some SRO units that are not adequate, and we are working as hard as we can to ensure that we can fix those up. And then we also have in the process work that's underway with Vancouver, with CMHC, with BC Housing to address the SRO stock that is older to ensure that either it can be upgraded or in some cases taken down and new units being built. So all that work is happening simultaneously.
James, did you have a follow-up?
Please, thank you. So can I ask, how much money has the government committed to this new housing announced today?
Yeah, so there's significant dollars invested in this. We can provide you some more details after, but this isn't all about just new money. Yes, obviously there's some new money involved in some of the services provided, some of the new units that are being built, but this is mainly focused on coordinating the services we have in a better way. We heard time and time and again from our not-for-profit partners, from those with lived experience, that we have to do a better job of coordinating services. When people need supports, they need to be able to access it in a quicker way. And that's what the strategy lays out, a process in which we can coordinate all the services, in particular around the Downtown Eastside, in a better way. And of course, additional dollars that will be needed to bring on the 330 units that will be open by June. And of course, additional measures, additional units that we're building on, because once we move people into supportive housing and they've got stability, we want to ensure that they can get into market rent housing with supports as well. So it's a full continuum, and we can give you the full details of the dollars after this announcement.
Our next question is for Akshay Kulkarni, CBC. Please go ahead.
Hi. So I guess my first question would be, you talked about how sort of these units are sort of automatically safer than what's happening on the streets in the Downtown Eastside, but we've had a lot of stories in the past where even SRO residents are sort of saying, hey, these are sort of running safe. We've heard all of these stories about e-bike fires and SROs and all of that. I'm curious, how are you going to assure these residents that the new housing is actually safer in terms of fire, especially under current housing?
The phone was cutting out a little bit, so I didn't quite get the full question, but I'll take a crack at it, which is, we know, and the mayor has laid out many times as well, that right now the encampments are not safe. The mayor highlighted a survey that was done by a not-for-profit that highlighted, that surveyed 50 women, and all 50 women had highlighted that they had been sexually assaulted. I mean, that's an alarming report. We've seen an increase in fires that we've been dealing with in that encampment as well. And so we know that shelter that is provided is safer than encampments. From day one, we've said that our goal is to get people into shelter and then into housing and get away from encampments because the encampments are not safe. And that's what this plan lays out. Better coordination of services, more dollars to get more units online in a quick way. Also shows that the progress we made has been significant. Getting 90 people already into housing is a very significant step, but we have more work to do.
Akshay, did you have a follow-up?
All right. Oh, yeah, sorry. I guess my follow-up would be to talk about fire risk. We had a fire in Montreal recently, which was, I think, Airbnb, and you talked in the past about regulating short-term rentals from the province side and obviously the city side as well. I'm curious if there are any new regulations coming on this, or is there any legislation being worked on when it comes to Airbnbs and short-term rentals?
Well, we've been, again, it was hard to hear your question. And so I think your question was around SROs and fires. And I can share with you that we've been working with the Office of Fire Commissioners and the Vancouver Fire Service. We've been bringing together a lot of our partners and not-for-profit partners and having conversations about where they're seeing challenges and how we can collectively work to address it. In some cases, it requires buildings to make some upgrades. Some of that work is happening. In some cases, it's about better education for those that are residing in those units, ensuring that they know what their responsibilities are. Too often, smoking is a challenge for the fire alarms going off, and so it involves an education process for residents as well. So all that work is happening right now. BC Housing is leading a working group that is working to address those challenges, and it's something that we'll provide an update on once that work is done.
We have time for one more question. Our final question today is for Jennifer Megger, Radio Canada. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. So from the 330 units, there are 89 that are from moderate supportive housing. Those seem to be short-term. What is the longer-term strategy in terms of housing for the people of the Downtown Eastside?
Yeah, that's a good question. As I highlighted, that these are short-term spaces. We are working very closely with the City of Vancouver to build longer-term affordable housing for people. The goal is for people to get into shelters, then get into supportive housing, or in some cases, complex care housing. And then once they've got that stability, to get them into either affordable rental units or market rental. And we've seen success. We have many cases where people have seen that. Just recently, I got a chance to visit Vernon, where I got to meet a woman who was living in an encampment, got into supportive housing, now is in market rental, has actually been trained up and is supporting people that are living on the streets. And so we have hope. We believe that there's a pathway to help people. That's the work we're doing here. We have 900 additional units that are supportive housing beyond the temporary housing that we're talking about that are being built in Vancouver right now. And we're working actively with BC Housing, our partners in the City of Vancouver, to expand the availability of additional units for people.
Jennifer, did you have a follow-up?
I do. Thank you for the answer. So in July of last year, the Vancouver Fire Rescue Service ordered the dismantling of the tent village on Hastings East with the fires going on. Is this something we could see happen, another order to dismantle the tent?
So the phone was cutting out a little bit, but I believe your question is around the order from the Vancouver Fire Service, and perhaps the mayor might want to make comments around that.
Thank you. Yeah, the phone was cracking out, so I'll just comment on the chief's fire order that came out in 2022. Yeah, it's a significant fire risk. What's going on in in the tents on especially East Hastings, with propane tanks, what have you. When these things catch fire, it actually puts risk or the buildings that are out there, the housing units that they lean against. There's risk of fire, and it's actually dangerous for everyone. Not just the people in the tents. It actually puts lives at risk and housing stock, much needed housing stock at risk as well. And so that's why since last year, and we continue to do it, we are empathetically making progress in finding people who are currently on the streets, housing solutions, housing options to remove these tents, which do, obviously provide a significant hazard to safety across the board.
Thank you, everyone. That's all the questions, the time we have for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Great. Thanks, all.